Mothman from Danger Squad. I'm gonna be doing a profile on DDDs. This deck is rather old, but it's a really good pendulum deck that's able to a combo pendulum deck that's able to put out 4 or 5 negates and 3 pops during the opponent's turn, and the option of doing a Buster Lock, which is degenerate, but it helps out the deck. So, as for the main deck, the non-pendulum monsters, we have 3 Swirl Slime, 3 Necro Slime, and 3 Lamia, and it would be 2 Ghosts, but I only have 1 on me so far. The Swirl Slime, Necro Slime, and Lamia are your main playmakers. The Ghost is more of an extender, but it can be really helpful when you need to dump stuff into the grave, like a second Lamia. Swirl Slime and Necro Slime, or any DD monster, is really your start for your full combo. Lamia is good because she can resurrect herself, usually resurrect her a bunch of times. Necro Slime is able to fusion summon from using banishing materials, and Swirl Slime uses materials from your hand to fusion summon. Onto the pendulums, we have 3 Abyss Ragnarok, 2 Divine Zero King Rage. This is a manga promo, so you're most likely not going to have this, so you can replace this with other cards from the structure deck. Laplace, which is another promo from the 5Ds manga. Copernicus, it's another good starter. Dump stuff into grave. Chaos King Apocalypse. Usually you end on this to go into a Siegfried. Orthos to access Needle Fiber. And 3 7 Newton, which is your searcher. I mean Kepler, which is your searcher. This is another starter. It gets you towards your dark contracts, which usually you're going to be adding a contract to the gate to add Necro Slime, or to add your Lamia. As for the non-DD monsters, what's it called? What I mean is, okay, Laplace is a really good game ender. Zero King Rage is able to make you normal summon your level 5s without having to your level 5 DDDs without having to tribute. It's also good because it essentially adds a thought to your opponent's board by tributing a monster. Again, these are manga promos, so you can switch this out for stuff like Ash Blossom, Gamma, whatever. Oblivion King Ragnarok is a really good card that you should be starting off with, because this is an extender that always makes you end on a full board with usually a Buster Lock. Speaking of Buster Lock, we run the 1 sword because it's degenerate. It locks your opponent out of one key thing from Yu-Gi-Oh! This thing should probably be banned, but who knows. Okay, onto the spells. We have, for the contracts, we have 3 contracts from the gate, 1 fusion contract. If you don't have access to Necro Slime, you usually use this. This is where you search off a Kepler. It's your genetic searcher. Add a DD, pay 1,000, but that is not really relevant here since the game usually ends on turn 2. 2 copies of Where Art Thou. You could bump this up to 3, but ultimately this gets you to your level 1s, which are Kepler, Lamia, and Necro Slime. The take 2,000 doesn't really matter because you again you can just gain life points from this, or just ultimately negate the activation. More or less you could just take it. 3 Kalba, your combo deck, you need this. Allure, your entire deck is dark, so you don't really care about banishing stuff. Also, if you do banish Ghost off of this or off of Necro Slime, you usually get your resources back from your banish pile, so it's all good. Desires, draw power, you want to go into your combo pieces. Upstart Goblin, same thing. 1 for 1. Dump a Necro Slime into graveyard. Summon Kepler. Add a contract. Add one of the fusion contracts. Whatever you can. All around, these are the ratios I like. I'd rather have 2 desires and 1 upstart because I don't want to draw into my other 2 desires. Even though it would be optimal to have 3, but I'd rather not banish my combo pieces, but who knows. As well, I do not want to draw into 2 more desires, which is possible. Okay, that does it for the main deck. Onto the extra deck, we have Dark, which gives you life points. It gives you access to Siegfried, all your level 8s, usually with Lamia. To Genghis. Genghis is amazing. It's your combo. It's where you fusion off of Swirl Slime to start special summoning your Lamias. Big Genghis because it's your negate and it's essentially your third Genghis for special summoning. DD High Wave King Caesar. You overlay these 2 into this. Stops Nibiru. Stops everything. Okay. Now into the synchro side of things, because the synchro's the biggest of them all. Satellite Warrior, Savage, Crystal Wing, Siegfried, Alexander, Formula. This is what you do off of Needle Fiber. It gives you the 3 pops you need. Crystal Wing is Crystal Wing, Negate, Omni Negate, Spell Negate, combo. You can also change some of these things for other DD cards, like DD. What's it called? Beowulf. You can go for Abyss King Caesar. You can also do what's it called? There's a lot of things you could give it off for a Kali Yuga. Onto the Link side, Union Carrier, Buster Lock is Degenerate. Gilgamesh gives you your scales. Algae Fibrax, this is bannable and probably should be. It gives you access to all your tuners. You can link climb with it. Crush Heap. Not much to say here. Fusion play, special summon from graveyard. Everything's amazing. That does it for the deck profile. I'm gonna do some possible test hands, and then we'll see. Consists of these 3 cards and 2 other random cards. So what you would do in this case would be you'd activate the effect of Swirl Slime and Necro Slime to fuse, heading into your Genghis. In which case you'd banish the Swirl Slime into summoning Lamia. Then you would synchro for Alexander. In which case you still have Genghis and you still have Swirl Slime engraved. Necro Slime engraved. So you would then activate Necro Slime effect, banishing the Genghis and the Necro Slime to fusion into High Flame King Genghis. In which case it would trigger Alexander to special summon the Lamia. You would then synchro these 2. Then synchro those 2 into your Curse King Siegfried, triggering Genghis to bring back your Ghost King Alexander. That's what you can do with 3 cards in hand. Not to mention you still have your normal summon. So which means any of these cards could be, let's say another Lamia or your Ghost. Normal summon Lamia, synchro. Synchro for Crystal Wing. Plus, let's say a lure or something, you draw into other 2 cards. So your basic combo usually makes you end on 2 negates, but depending on your hand as well, you can also go above that and go into stuff like Needle Fiber. You can go into a lot more things. So let's say we start off with the same hand again. What can we do differently from there? Again, let's say your hand is this slime, necro, lamia. You do your basic combo, fusing into Flame King, banish for lamia, synchro. You could choose now to either synchro or link off into Halki or cross shape. Usually what you would want to do is go into either Halki, but it would be better to go into cross shape. Then you would fusion these two. Fusion these two into another Flame King. Flame King, use the effect to bring back Lamia. Then you could synchro from here, or better yet, you could link off. Into needle fiber. So let's say you link off into needle fiber. Needle fiber effect, trigger, special summon your tuner, which could be either Ghost, which is more preferred, or Lamia. So from here, let's say Ghost, okay? So then here you would synchro. This is 8. For whatever you want, Borload, for Curse King. Usually you would go into Curse King now. Ghost would trigger, sending another Lamia to graveyard. With still 2 cards in hand, so now you have Needle Fiber and you have a Negate. With these 2 cards in hand, you can do a bunch of other stuff. Now I'm going to show you a test hand with four of the best cards. Okay, so let's say you have a similar hand here, but with Abyss King Ragnarok as a part of your combo. So what you would do is either say your scale, or just go off normally. I would prefer to set the scale first, so that way you don't forget about it. Go into your Flame King Genghis. Do your normal combos like always. Genghis. Special via the banishing itself, synchro, into DD Ghost King Alexander, and this time instead of activating your Necro Slime Diffusion, you activate Abyss King Ragnarok. You pay 1,000, special summon a DDD from your graveyard, essentially your Flame King Genghis. Then you'd special Lamia via Alexander's effect. And you would not activate Genghis' effect in this case because Necro Slime doesn't really do much on the field. Yeah, you could link it off, but there's better options to do this. So now you would synchro to Siegfried, triggering Flame King to special either one of these two. Most likely is going to be your Lamia back. And then in this case you would fusion these two off. Or better yet, you could do something else. So here you have these two and a negate on field. Just remember, this is only spell and trap. This is spell and trap negate. So what you could do now instead is you could link these two off. For either needle fiber or for cross shape. Whichever one leads you to a different combo. I ultimately prefer to use needle fiber over this, so I can get the formula on field when so I can get the formula synchron on field. From there, you'd special summon your You can special summon your Orthos off of it. You can special summon your Lamia or your Ghost in this case. And then next what you would do is with Lamia. With Lamia's effect, you could send the ghost to grave to then and then special summon it, but it will get banished. So ultimately, it's your choice. I would prefer to just. I would prefer to start to fuse either one of these two with Necro Slime to go into another fusion play. Most likely fuse these two. Into Arboreal Savage. That is if you chose to make Cross Sheep and then to Needle Fiber. So that way you'd have two counters on it. So now let's say you have Lamia Engrave, and then you use its effect to send DD Ghost Graveyard, which then triggers sending another Necro Slime or whatever else you may have in your graveyard. Then in this case, you would then banish off the Ghost and the Necro Slime into your copy of Dark. And then in which case Ghost would trigger to return one of your banished, let's say your Necro Slime for next turn. Now here you could do a multitude of plays. You could do a bit. You could link these two off. You could synchro. Most likely what I would like to do, what I would personally do is just synchro these two. I'll make it banished into your Arboreal Savage or any level 8 you may have, as long as you're not locked into DDDs by Abyss King Gilgamesh. And let's say you have, I don't know, an allure in your hand by the end of this. Draw 2, banish Ragnarok, and then you have a follow-up play for next turn. Not the best board, but ultimately, testing out hands, getting better at the game with this deck, it can lead to a lot better boards. When in practice, I've been able to make boards with Helgi Firebrax, Siegfried, not Savage, but Genghis, High Flame King Genghis, and a Crystal Wing, either a Crystal Wing or a Union Carrier with the Buster Lock on Siegfried. So yeah, that's gonna be it for the deck profile. If you have any combos or tips to help me in the future, go ahead and comment them down, and then I'll read over them, because I do read over comments. All right, well, see you guys later. Post editing, I just realized I never showed off another budget option that you could actually use if you don't happen to have Needle Fiber, if you don't have this, if you don't have that. Needle Fiber is preferred to get because it helps the deck function a lot better, but you don't need it. Ultimately, this is another engine you can run. You can run the Dark Beckoning Beast with the opening of the Spirit Gates. Another normal summon, special summon your monsters with summon your Fiend monsters with 0/0 attack, which usually is Kepler, Newton, and many others you send via Swirl Slime or from Foolish Burial. Those are other tech options you can use. Yeah, this is another engine you can run. I never showed off the side deck either, so whoops to me, but yeah. Side deck, there's not that much you can really side out. You can side out Desires, I guess, but you're risking draw power. Ultimately, it's up to you what you want to get out, but Banker Tops, because you're going second. Mind Control, Artifact Package. This will probably be more bricky than anything, so up to you what you want to run. But usually to me, I take out War Art Thou if I don't see it too often. I take out One Desires. Yeah, I'm not gonna see One Desires too often, but I mean, you would rather lock out your opponent if you don't happen to access your Union Carrier. You could just set this, special summon Scythe. They essentially get Buster Locked. No more because it's no combo decks can function with this. So ultimately up to you. You can also main deck Nibiru. You can main deck Ash Blossom, Ghost Ogre, Gamma. I personally don't. I used to, but now I don't because I have more combo heavy oriented than before. So yeah, that's gonna be it for the DDD deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, this is in post editing, so if you already saw the last part, then that's my bad. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. If you want any other deck profiles, I suggest them down in the comments, and then we'll see what we can do. I'll see you guys later.